Is Stephen A problem for ESPN? Or is he doing exactly what they want him to do? I don't know. I don't know. I do know he's doing some highly questionable shit right now. No pun intended, given the fact that he got the whole smoke with Dan Lebatard right now. He used to have a show called Highly Questionable, but I ain't even trying to mix that. I'm just saying he's doing some, not even, it ain't even questionable because I have no question about it. He's doing some fuck shit right now. And I'm hot behind it. And I'm going to talk about it. But before I do, make sure y'all hit that subscribe button. I am your homeboy First, and this is the realest, most entertaining sports show in the game. Put it on some again. Hit that subscribe button. Share to all the real ones that you know. Because ain't nobody else about to bring this kind of perspective. Ain't nobody bringing this kind of knowledge, this kind of intelligence. Ain't nobody bringing this shit like I am. It's, especially not Stephen A. Smith the way this motherfucker talking. So please put all your people on it. Join the channel. Contribute via super thanks, cash out. Because I will grow my company to become the one-stop shop for Black culture. But let's get into it, okay? The reason I'm doing this segment because it came across my timeline that Stephen A. Smith gave comfort to Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan's the number one cat in the podcast game, okay? I don't listen to the motherfucker. I don't watch the motherfucker, but millions do, okay? And Joe Rogan is set up here and basically stated that January 6th, the insurrection when these Trump supporters went up there to the U.S. Capitol and tried to take that bitch over to stop the election from being certified. Joe Rogan believes that it was staged by the FBI. That some dude was out there instigating this shit. And he's spewing this shit to his millions of viewers and listeners. And Stephen A. Smith, the face of ESPN, gets on his shit, the Stephen A. Smith show. That you want to see the real Stephen A. Smith? Go watch that shit. That's him right there. Go check that shit out. So he gets on that shit and says he doesn't know if Joe Rogan is right or wrong. Bullshit. Well, Stephen A. Smith, if you don't know, you need to go talk to Congressman Benny Thompson, the Honorable Congressman Benny Thompson of Mississippi. He knows. Know why he knows? Because he was the chairperson of the January 6th committee. Put his life on the line. I'm sure he got countless death threats for being the chair of that committee. But he still did that shit. And they laid all the evidence out for you on a silver platter. I watched every moment of the hearings. You can too. They're on YouTube. Go watch them. Any of y'all, go watch them. The evidence is clear. Ain't no reason for nobody to be sitting up here talking about Joe Rogan. I don't know if he's right or wrong. Bullshit. But this is what really got me hot. This what got me hot, y'all. This motherfucker Stephen A. Smith got the nerve to sit up here and bring up Dr. King and Malcolm X when it comes to conspiracies and shit like that. He up here like, as a black man, like you can't take for granted or you can't overlook or you can't just write off that the government would do some fuck shit. But Malcolm X and Dr. King were freedom fighters. Dr. King and Malcolm X were about black liberation. That ain't what Trump on. Trump is about himself. about himself. Okay? And the FBI was being led by J. Edgar Hoover, who was insanely obsessed with preventing the rise of a black messiah. So if you the type of motherfucker that fit that description, he was trying to either imprison you, discredit you, murder you, dismantle your organization. Whether you be Dr. King, Malcolm X, Fred Hampton, Hewitt P. Newton, the list goes on. Trump ain't in that class. So how dare this motherfucker bring up what happened to Brother Malcolm and Dr. King when it comes to Donald Trump? The fact that our government played a role in the assassinations of those kings. Trump ain't in their weight class. When the government start just fucking with rich, famous, powerful white men. When the government just decided to start fucking with them for no reason. I miss that shit. I miss that. Fucking with black people who stand for something, fucking with black people who speak truth to power, fucking with black people who put you on blast globally. Oh, they get you for that. But Trump is a career criminal. How dare he mention them in this situation? Fuck wrong with this motherfucker, man. Talking about Joe Rogan shouldn't be viewed as dumb. The fuck he shouldn't. He's saying dumb shit to millions of people. That is reckless. That is reckless. That is reckless. I'm a student of history. I'm an award-winning history teacher, formally. I know how the American Civil War just didn't spring up. It wasn't just that Abraham Lincoln was elected and then South Carolina seceded, Mississippi seceded, and all these other motherfuckers seceded, and then boom, eventually the Civil War come because Abraham Lincoln didn't want to just let that shit ride and let them go and go do that shit. No, there were skirmishes leading up to the Civil War. There were disagreements leading up to the Civil War. There was violence leading up to the Civil War. Excuse me. Go look up Bleeding Kansas. Fuck we talking about, man. So when you got somebody saying reckless shit like this, like, oh, Trump ain't do nothing, the feds just fucking with him. The feds, the one that orchestrated that shit to bring him down. You gonna have some crazies out here motivated to shoot behind that. Because they be up here training all the time thinking that black people and Latinos and Jews and the government and liberals and all these motherfuckers come to get them anyway. So when you say shit like this, like there are nightmares coming true. And so they ready to bust something behind it. And Stephen A. Smith ain't going to be out there busting nothing. And Joe Rogan ain't going to be out there busting nothing. But these crazy motherfuckers that they're giving comfort to will. So yes, Joe Rogan is dumb as fuck for saying that baseless shit. And he deserves to be called dumb as fuck for that. And Stephen A. Smith deserves to become called dumb for giving comfort to that motherfucker. But see, he want to play both sides too. Because see, he goes on. And I watched this whole segment. I ain't just watched the shit that came across my timeline. You know, the little snippet that they put out there on social media. I went and watched this whole segment so I could be thorough. I took notes on it. He goes on to say that now he doesn't support Trump, you know, because he calls Trump juvenile and a narcissist. You know what I'm talking about? And so he doesn't support him. He supports statesmen. So he says he didn't have a problem as a black man. Nah, okay. He didn't say as a black man. I'm saying Him as a black man said this, that he didn't have a problem with Ronald Reagan as president, with Bill Clinton as president, with George W. Bush as president, and Dick Cheney as vice president. What the fuck? You talking about as a black man, you ain't got no problem with them? With Reaganomics, you ain't got no problem with Reaganomics. You ain't got no problem with the mishandling of the crack epidemic. You ain't got no problem with that motherfucker having a hand in the crack epidemic. See Iran Contra. See Freeway Ricky Ross. Fuck we talking about, man? You ain't got no problem with Bill Clinton, crime bill, welfare reform. You ain't got no problem with that, huh? You got all these problems with Joe Biden, but you ain't got no problems with Bill Clinton. Come on, man. Both of them moderate Democrats. Both of them on the same shit. But you ain't got a problem with Clinton. Biden up there was supporting the crime bill, but Clinton signed it, motherfucker. You ain't got no problem with Clinton, though. Okay. You ain't got no problem with George W. Bush? You got no problem with George W. Bush? Oh, let me back up, because some motherfucker gonna try to say something about me voting for Biden. Yeah, I voted for Biden against Trump. I ain't voting for Biden ever in a primary. But once it got down to Trump and Biden, goddamn, you gotta make a decision, Jack. I make a decision. That was an easy decision. So yeah, but I don't fuck with Joe Biden like that. Consistency. I'm consistent with my shit. But I don't fuck with these motherfuckers. He named it either. George W. Bush? He ain't had no problem with George W. Bush's administration. Same George W. Bush whose incompetence allowed 9/11 to be pulled off successfully. Same George W. Bush whose incompetence let Bin Laden get away for all those goddamn years. Same George W. Bush whose incompetence led to the horrible response to Hurricane Katrina. The same George W. Bush whose lies and Dick Cheney's lies led to what many consider war crimes in Iraq. Because them motherfuckers ain't had no weapons of mass destruction. He ain't had no problem with them. The fuck is wrong with this man? But one of my brothers said it, and they might be right. That this somebody might be setting himself up for the next move. Maybe he see the writing on the wall. Maybe he think ESPN gonna get rid of his motherfucking ass eventually. Because he basically says he wants to be Joe Rogan. Yeah, I ain't making this shit up. In this segment, he calls Joe Rogan the king of this podcast shit. He says he hopes to have the success of Joe Rogan. Okay. Boy. Somebody better tell old Steve L he ain't got the complexion for the connection for the protection. He thinks he does, though. He seems to think he does. Okay. Again, playing both sides. Now, remember I told y'all he said he's anti-Trump, he's a narcissist and all that kind of shit. But he also says he doesn't believe that Trump caused the insurrection. Says those were grown-ass people out there, and nobody can just make them do that. He blames Trump for fanning the flames and being slow to act, but they did that on their own accord. Man, first of all, go read the goddamn indictment, dog. It ain't just about the incitement of that shit. It's about the whole scheme to get the fake electors and all that kind of shit. This was elaborate. You got co-conspirators and everything. What are we talking about? You can't be sitting up there telling the vice president not to certify the election. You can't be doing that. What we talking about? You can't be sitting up here doing what he did in Georgia, calling them motherfuckers, talking about, telling them how many votes he needs. I just need to find this amount of votes. You can't be doing that shit. You can't be going on Twitter telling these folks to show up on January 6th. Will be wild. During the speech, before they went up there to the Capitol, you can't be sitting up there telling them folks you have to fight and you have to be strong. And then when they go get violent, you say, "Well, I didn't do it." No, that ain't how it worked, Jack. This is old law. Like this has been established. Clear and present danger doctrine. You can't just yell out fire in a crowded theater and then everybody get to running and somebody get trampled to death. And then you be like, well, my First Amendment rights gave me the right to say that. Bullshit. You gonna take your ass to jail. Fuck we talking about, man? Maybe Stephen A. don't know that. Maybe he don't know that. He's a mass comm major, from what I understand, from what I read. So he's a real journalist. But that doesn't mean that he knows history. That doesn't mean he knows the law. That doesn't mean he knows politics. He needs to read a history book. Well, this motherfucker talking. But again, he tries to play both sides of the fence. He calls President Obama a statesman and class personified. Okay. But then goes on to say Rogan and his people may not be wrong to think that these indictments are just something to keep Trump from being president. Basically, you agree with these motherfuckers that are saying that law enforcement is being politicized. Instead of a motherfucker who's been on some criminal shit, a criminal spree, is somewhat being held accountable. Because I believe it when I see it for him going to jail. But come on, man. Leaders in other countries have been charged and put on trial for shit. Hell, leaders here. What am I talking about other countries? Leaders here. Maybe not the president, but leaders here like, I think back to the Blagojevich, Governor Blagojevich of Illinois. That motherfucker got charged for trying to sell Barack Obama's Senate seat when President Obama, ascended to the presidency. Okay, that's a vacant Senate seat. So this motherfucker, Governor Blagojevich, I think it's Rod or Rob Blagojevich, something like that. But motherfucker like, shit, this is gold. Here, I'm about to sell this shit. Got jammed up. It happens. But when it happens to Trump, oh, it's a conspiracy. Man, get the fuck out of here, man. This man is trash. You don't have to make up all this shit for this dude. The dude's trash. And anybody who's up here believing that shit needs to stay off of that damn shit. Stephen A. always talking about who's on crack and who's on the weed. Well, goddamn it, him and Joe Rogan acting like they own it together. Up here believing this shit. Or giving comfort to this shit. Or because he says he doesn't believe what Joe Rogan is saying, but he's defending his right to say it. Bullshit, man. Miss me with that both sides shit, dog. Swearing down, he's just straight shooter. And no, that ain't straight. You playing both sides. Acting like, because this motherfucker got a lot of subscribers, that gives him credibility. No, it doesn't. What? Because a lot of motherfuckers follow you, they give you some credibility. Fuck we talking about? Fuck we talking about? Shit, that little shawty, Sexy Red, she got 1.2 million followers on Instagram. You know the little shawty with the song, I'm out of town, thugging women around, my pussy pink, my booty hole brown. She got a lot of followers too. Maybe not 15 million subscribers, whatever the fuck Joe Rogan got. But she got a hit record right now. A lot of motherfuckers, she popping a lot of people out. I guess she got credibility on matters such as these as well. Man, followers don't mean shit when it comes to whether or not you know what the fuck you talking about. The fuck is wrong with this man? He wants to be him though. Maybe he want to get down with this man podcast network or something. Does he have a podcast network? I don't know. Maybe he wants to be a part of the business model. He wants some of that money. But he on Joe Rogan dick. I know that. But playing both sides. He gonna give himself a couple. Claims to not agree with Rogan, but defends his right to say what he's saying. Miss me with that. This motherfucker, I don't know. He being real provocative. He tweeted some shit out talking about is Kim Kardashian a prostitute? Is her mama a pimp? Then Pat Beverly had to get on him about that. Then motherfuckers mind it's a clerical issue. Like this motherfucker doing some shit now. Jamel Hill got to be looking at this like, whoa, hold on. That motherfucker getting to do all this shit? And all I did was point out, well, in the same motherfucker already realized that Trump is racist. That motherfucker white supremacist. Or would I get all this hot water? But this motherfucker say all this shit, do all this. Okay. I don't know. ESPN, worldwide leader in sports. This what you want? This your boy. This your boy. Yeah, I'm on TV all goddamn day. This your boy. Is he doing your bidding? Because I know you were being called woke. You were being called too liberal. You were being called left-leaning. And you wanted to get away from that. So is Stephen A doing your bidding with this bullshit? And he's the perfect type of motherfucker to do it because he's black. And then he speaks our lingo to an extent, and he cool with black folks like Michael Irvin and all that kind of shit. And he went to a HBCU and he rocks the HBCU jacket. Like, is he the perfect vessel for this shit that y'all want to show the conservatives that you're all right? Well, I'm telling all the real ones that fuck with me, they ain't all right, and he ain't all right. Not when he's sitting up here doing this bullshit. But I told y'all before, he been showed us who he is. It's on you to believe him. Put it on something.